There was a girl who was 12 years old and in secondary school, studying in JSS 3. She had fallen in love with a boy, and the following year, when she turned 13, she found out she was pregnant by him. Her parents were deeply disappointed and upset, unable to understand how their daughter, so young, could find herself in such a situation. Despite their anger, they supported her through the pregnancy. Fortunately, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. After the birth, her parents decided to take the newborn to the boy's family, the same boy who had gotten their daughter pregnant. The boy's parents, though conflicted, accepted the child, and he was raised in their home. When the girl finished secondary school, her parents, hoping to give her a fresh start, sent her abroad to continue her studies and pursue her master's degree. Over the years, she built a successful life for herself, thriving in her career and becoming financially independent. However, despite all her achievements, she struggled to find true love. By the time she turned 35, she had not yet married, and the idea of finding someone to spend her life with seemed more distant than ever. Feeling lonely and unsure of where to turn, she decided to search for a partner online. It was then that she met a man who seemed perfect for her. They quickly connected and began sharing their lives with each other. Slowly, they fell in love. Unbeknownst to her, this man was her biological son, the same boy she had given up when he was a newborn. They started dating online, and as their bond deepened, the woman made plans to return home to meet him in person. When they met, the chemistry was undeniable. They spent several days together in a hotel, enjoying each other's company, and neither of them had any idea of the truth that linked them. The woman was deeply in love with him, and the man was equally in love with her. Unaware that they were mother and son, they began planning their wedding. The woman's family was excited, agreeing that he was a wonderful match for her. They went to the man's family next to set the date. While they were sitting together in the living room, his uncle asked, "Son, who do you plan to marry?" "My love, of course," the young man replied, proudly. The uncle stood up, looking stunned. He excused himself and went inside to speak with his wife. Moments later, his wife came out and, with a shocked expression, said, "This is your mother." The young man was in complete disbelief. "What are you talking about?" he asked, his voice shaky with confusion. His uncle sat him down and began to explain the truth, the story of his birth, the woman who had been his mother, and how she had left him behind with his family all those years ago. The revelation hit the young man like a blow. He was deeply in love with her. The feelings he had were overwhelming, and he didn't know how to process the truth. At that moment, the woman asked about the man who had gotten her pregnant. The uncle revealed that the man had passed away 4 months ago, a tragic end to a life lost in drugs and trafficking. He had died in an accident. Now, faced with the unbearable reality, the woman knew she had to give her son space. The bond they had unknowingly shared needed to be severed for both their sakes. They turned to spiritual guidance, seeking a way to cleanse the emotions that had entangled them. The process was long, painful, and filled with sacrifice. The journey ahead was far from easy. The woman, now fully aware of the gravity of the situation, knew she had to take drastic steps to help both herself and her son move forward. The bond that had unknowingly formed between them had been intense and undeniable, and breaking it was no small feat. They both struggled, weighed down by guilt, shame, and the pain of their unspoken love for one another. The woman, who had once been a young, carefree girl, now found herself caught in a web of decisions she never anticipated. She had given up her son when she was just a child herself, and now, as an adult, she was forced to confront the consequences of that decision. It was a reality too painful to accept. Her son, on the other hand, was drowning in confusion. His feelings for the woman he loved were so deep that he couldn't fathom how to move past them. To him, she wasn't just a mother, she was the person he believed was meant to be his partner, the one who had always understood him. The truth cut through him like a blade. But despite the deep emotional turmoil, the woman knew what she had to do. With a heavy heart, she decided to sever all ties. She knew that if they didn't, their bond would continue to grow, leaving them both trapped in an inescapable cycle. They needed to let go of their past, no matter how painful it was. She sought therapy, hoping to find the strength to heal and guide her son through the difficult process. It was a journey of self-discovery, understanding, and personal growth. Her son, though struggling, agreed to go with her. Together, they attended therapy sessions, which were grueling yet necessary. It wasn't just about breaking the emotional bond between them, it was about rebuilding their lives. The woman's parents, now passed away, had always taught her the importance of responsibility, the value of making the right decisions for the greater good. She wished they could see her now, strong, though broken, and doing her best to correct her past mistakes. But she also knew that the lessons they instilled in her were still alive in her heart. She wanted to honor their memory by ensuring her son grew up to be a person who could understand the importance of boundaries and love in the right context. As time passed, the young man began to heal. It wasn't easy. There were days when the weight of the situation felt too much to bear, but with every therapy session, every conversation, and every step he took to rebuild his life, he began to understand the true nature of love, not one born from confusion or trauma, but one that could thrive in a healthy, respectful relationship. The woman, too, found a sense of peace. She dedicated herself to mentoring young women, helping them understand the consequences of their actions, particularly when it came to relationships and parenthood. She spoke openly about her story, her mistakes, her heartbreak, and the lessons she learned. Her hope was that no other young girl would have to face the same struggles she did, and that parents could learn from her painful experience. Through her work, she became an advocate for sexual education and family planning, encouraging open dialogue between parents and children. She wanted to create an environment where young people felt safe to talk about their choices and learn from others' mistakes, so they wouldn't have to endure the same heartbreak she had. As for her son, he eventually found love with someone who truly understood him. He learned to see his mother not as a lover but as the strong woman who had given him life, who had faced her mistakes head-on, and who had been brave enough to break the chains that had bound them. He forgave her. In time, he came to realize that love, in its purest form, didn't come from a place of confusion, it came from respect, care, and mutual understanding. The story of the woman and her son became a cautionary tale. It reminded parents everywhere of the importance of educating their children about boundaries, love, and the responsibilities that come with relationships. It emphasized that, no matter how hard it might be, it's crucial for parents to guide their children through life's challenges, to be present, and to speak openly about difficult topics. In the end, the woman and her son found peace, not just with each other, but with themselves. They both learned that life is about growth, learning from mistakes, and making amends when necessary. They knew that while the past could never be erased, they could use it to build a brighter future, one where they both could move forward, healed and whole. The woman's journey of healing and redemption was long and difficult, but it was also a testament to the power of growth and change. Through therapy, self-reflection, and open dialogue, she learned to forgive herself for the mistakes of her youth and began to rebuild her relationship with her son, one rooted in respect, understanding, and love. Yet, even with all the healing, the one regret that remained in her heart was the absence of a conversation she never had with her parents. She wished that, as a young girl, she had had the courage to ask them for help, questions that could have prevented the pain she caused and the decisions she made in ignorance. If only they had discussed with her the consequences of relationships, parenthood, and love at an early age, things might have turned out differently. It was then that she realized the importance of open communication between parents and children, particularly when it came to difficult topics. Parents, no matter how well-meaning, cannot assume that their children will always know the right path on their own. The lack of discussion and guidance, especially when it came to her pregnancy and the baby she had given up, left her feeling isolated, afraid, and unsure. She never had the courage to ask her parents about her son, because she was ashamed and didn't know how to approach the topic. That fear and lack of communication led to years of emotional turmoil. Now, as a mentor to other young women, she made it her mission to change that for the next generation. She knew that if she could help other parents understand the importance of talking openly with their children about relationships, boundaries, and the consequences of their actions, it would make all the difference. She encouraged parents to build a foundation of trust, where their children felt safe asking questions, sharing their feelings, and seeking advice without fear of judgment. Her story became a powerful reminder to all parents, the weight of responsibility that comes with raising a child includes teaching them not just what is right, but also how to navigate the complexities of relationships, love, and their own emotions. Children need guidance, not just in academics or life skills, but in understanding themselves and their place in the world. They need to know they can approach their parents with questions, without fear of rejection or shame. In the end, the woman and her son rebuilt their lives separately but with a deeper understanding of love, one that was no longer clouded by confusion or hurt. Her son found a new path forward, and she, too, found peace. They both learned that while the past can never be erased, it can shape a better future if we learn from it. And for all the parents who read her story, it became a clarion call to never shy away from the difficult conversations. For their children's sake, and for the sake of their own peace of mind, parents must find the courage to speak openly, share wisdom, and offer guidance before it's too late. This is the end of my video. Like, comment and subscribe to this channel for the next episode.